It's a great day to be a Coyote. Welcome, Coyote Nation, to another episode of Back to Pack Podcast, where we are going to be bringing you all of your favorite games, memories, and of course, discussion with our fellow Coyotes. As a disclaimer, we have no affiliation to the University of South Dakota. This is a podcast ran by fans for fans. The ideas and comments do not represent the university. Our opinions are our own. Be sure to find us on Twitter at BackToPackSD. With that being said, let's jump in. Well, my voice hasn't recovered yet.
No, I don't think any of ours have.
Neither has the coyote howl.
Yeah.
The coyote howl didn't happen because he's dead.
I was waiting for it. I was like, where's the coyote? I guess I'll just start the introduction since you didn't want to howl with us.
Yeah, we're calling this episode post-mortem. It's not a post-game show. It's a post-mortem because we've been called in to identify a dead body from the murder that happened on Saturday, and we're working on Labor Day here, fellas.
Tell you what, that one did not go as planned.
No, I would say Mitch said it right. Post-mortem instead of post-game is right, and we talked about it. Doesn't change the goals of this team, right? But still, it's never easy to see your favorite team get a good old-fashioned ass whipping. So it's a tough one, but we'll break it down.
Oh yeah.
As folks are joining us too tonight, we got Yote fan in here, giving a shout out to all the Yote fans. Got Kendall K, 3 hearts. Let's go. We need some love right now. Mm-hmm. And we got Ray. It was cool seeing all the Coyote fans' names. I agree. Let's talk about that for a quick second, guys, because Coyote Nation had a great showing and at the tailgate and in the stadium.
Dude, I couldn't walk through the tent. I didn't get a chance to. There was no room.
It was standing room only when I got there, and that was like 11:05.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we all kind of amazing how we all ended up at the tent at about the same time.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean,
they said food at 11. I wasn't going to miss it.
I will say too. Obviously, the Coyote tailgate was unbelievable showing, right? I think they said an 850 plus was kind of the final tally. Even walking around, Jake went and kind of found you and your crew a little bit. We were just kind of wandering around tailgate. There's a lot of Yote fans sporadically just kind of in the normal tailgate areas too by the stadium. So I was super impressed. It was a lot of fun to catch up with a lot of people who maybe haven't seen since last season, So
yes,
always a good time. You know how I operate. I enjoy the tailgate just as much as the game.
There was, speaking of tailgate, guys, a lot of dual flags. I made over a mile walk from free parking on campus down to the stadium and walk through what I'm calling a mile of just straight pop-up tents. I mean, the tailgate atmosphere at Ames is top notch. But a lot of USD and ISU flags side by side sprinkled in throughout their tailgate. And I did get a couple go Yotes as I was walking through there from some folks. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it was fantastic to see. Actually, funny enough, we set up. I put the flag up, and as I'm putting my flag up, the only other car in the parking lot next to us at the time was also putting up their USD flag, and they popped out in a bunch of Bauman shirts. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the tent was insane, and I just wanted to take a minute to say shout out to pretty much every person I talked to. I got stopped 3, 4, 5 times, and funny enough, are you the podcast guy? Was the main question that was always asked. And just the people that stopped us, the people we talked to, I mean, you guys are the reason why we do it. And I know we missed a lot of followers that weren't there. And I know after after talking to some people under the tent, people overhearing our conversation, I think we gained a few more followers out there too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we forget right over the summertime, kind of a slow time, but I had so many people comment about how they always like to listen to, our pregame show on the way down, right? So there's a perfect one, 3 hours. I think a lot of folks did, and I think the views reflected that accordingly. So I agree, it's fun. It's fun when folks come out and say hi to us, for no doubt.
All right, so as a reminder, real quick, Jake, Spotify. If you can't catch this live, you can always catch it on Spotify. We post it pretty quickly after the show's over, so you can always catch the audio only on Spotify. Like Grant said, perfect opportunity if you're making a drive, whether it's from Sioux Falls down to Vermilion or to an away game, whatever that looks like. Definitely catch us over there too.
So does this mean that we have to make our Lamar show like what 12 hours long just so people can fill their car ride down, or should we just shoot for the plane ride?
It's the only option. Read through the entire media guide. It's like 200 pages.
There you go.
Yeah. Shout out Steve on that one. It's fantastic.
Yes. Filibuster
Absolutely. Shout out Steve Carlson.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, let's take a look, fellas. Here we go.
Should we get to the funeral? Yeah.
That's why I'm wearing black, because I thought we were going to a funeral tonight.
No, all the funeral was on Saturday.
55-7. Boy, were we off. And by the way, Tyler, the Iowa State guru, was off by just as much because he was in line with us.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it definitely was an eye-opening experience for everyone. And I mean, we'll dive deep into it here soon enough, but it's hard to do anything when the best quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in the Big 12, is lights out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think just high-level thoughts here. Obviously, if you look at our predictions, we thought the defense was going to put up a little more resistance, and we're going to dive into that here in a second. But on the flip side, for our offense, we didn't expect a ton. I mean, look at what we predicted for points. 1 or 2 more touchdowns is all. And the golden opportunity we had there was on that second drive, right? We come down, score, we answer, and then that second drive, we throw interception in I think it was the red zone. I don't know, had we entered the red zone or maybe just right on the edge of the red zone? Yeah, but so around the 5-yard line after it got tipped or whatever. But that would have been at least another 3. So you figure 10, maybe even 14 there. So we wouldn't have been too far off if we get one more touchdown there. But
yeah, one thing I will say, I'm going to just give a shout out to a person on YouTube. His name's Thomas Orness. He actually had the game already up, a condensed version of it uploaded to YouTube. So unfortunately, my family had to relive this entirety of this game again. But I mean, we can definitely touch. Do you want to go quarter by quarter, or how are we approaching it this year?
Let's go with this. I think we'll just give high level thoughts, what stood out, and then just talk about where we need to improve the Yotes. Let's focus on the Yotes because obviously we're not going to play a top 20 or top 15 FBS school the rest of the way. And so I don't think we need to focus too much on Iowa State, but focus on where the Yotes need to improve, and then just give our players and plays of the game.
Yeah. All right. Well, and I'll get it started right away. What stood out most to me is actually, I'm going to call out both O-lines. O-line and D-line. I was actually very, very impressed with how they did all the way until, the middle of the third quarter, and you could just start seeing everybody getting gas, and that's where the dam really bursted. But the first 2.5 quarters, I mean, Aiden never got sacked. He did get hurried a few times and had to get out of the pocket a little bit, but he never got sacked. There were still plenty of holes for Charles to run in, and there was a lot of lanes, especially in the first half, for him to run. I was impressed with the way they were able to create opportunities. And the D-line, I mean, for the most part, I was watching it up until the last, 10 minutes to go in the fourth. Iowa State didn't have 100 yards rushing.
Right.
I mean, they really started to pour it on. They focused entirely on the ground game, those last 8-10 minutes of the game because they were trying to burn clock just like we were. But I was very impressed by the lines.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That was one of the notes I made as well. I thought the O-line in particular did an outstanding job, and I think we all three agreed we were pleasantly surprised because that's the biggest question mark going into the season.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there was at times we've talked about, boy, we're going into a top 20 team, guys are still trying to mesh, kind of figure things out. Are we going to get bullied, on the offensive line? Is Aiden going to be running for his life? What does that look like? And I thought they did a great job. They held their own. To your point, no sacks on Aiden. He had to move around a little bit at times. But really, I thought they did a really nice job, and makes me feel really good about what's to come here in the future.
Yeah, and just kind of one other thing, talking about that interception there in the red zone. that specific play, there was pressure coming on him, but he was rolling to his opposite side, right? So he's kind of throwing across his body back towards the middle, guy coming across the field, kind of, towards his sideline that he's rolling to. But that's a tough throw. He's got a guy bearing down on him with an arm up, kind of blocking his vision. That was just all sorts of funky there. But yeah, to your point, the O-line, man, and I beat that drum all off season, and I was very, very happy with how they held up against that big Iowa State defensive line.
Well, and just remember this too, that D-line that Iowa State had, they got 4 sacks against K-State the game prior. So definitely a note to have. Do you guys want me to hurt your feelings a little bit on that first pick?
Go for it.
All right. So yes, he threw behind him, and that made it difficult because of the way the angle was, and that's why it was delivered to the backhand of Martin's. But had he thrown to the front pylon, we were talking about 14-14.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He had Dallas Holmes, who had his guy cooked, which I will say this too. I mean, that's going to come. Aiden's definitely kicking himself sitting in film. There was a lot of opportunities left out on the field, but again, this defense is weird. When you rush 3, drop 8, tell me how you're going to find a window in that.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique defense and one that we probably don't ever see anywhere else in the FCS. Yeah, so
not in the Missouri Valley for sure, and not in the FCS in general, no doubt.
Yeah, and on that pass specifically, since we're talking about that, I almost grant we had a good kind of vantage point of that because we was on right in our corner where the USD fan section was. It almost looked like I looking at his passes, like which receiver was he trying to even throw to? I could have seen that he was actually trying to throw to the other one in the back there, in the back of the end zone, and then Martin's kind of tips it, but it was just it just didn't look good coming out, and again rolling to the opposite side of his throwing arm.
And that's one thing I'm curious about for this season. It's not something we're used to seeing from Aiden on the rolling out side of things, and when you roll out to the wrong direction, it's always going to be a tough throw.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering how used to it is he.
Yeah. And let's talk about Aiden too for a second, because I think the overall theme was he just looked a little off, right? You saw balls low at guys' feet over and over again, and then the other theme was kind of one step behind guys.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that, guys, I think is first game, right? First game of the season. Haven't had a chance to run stuff that much with these newer guys that we all the transfers we've talked about all off season, and just first game jitters a little bit. And we know he was pretty amped up for this game, both physically and emotionally. And so I just think he looked a little off.
Yeah, it comes down to being probably too amped up on it, and all the stories, him coming back for his last season. I think it caused a little bit of I don't want to call it a spiral per se, but it definitely got to his head, and it may have factored into the game. Now, the one thing I feel most confident in saying is that it was a one-time thing. There's no story with Lamar. There's obviously no stories with Drake or UNC. So I think he's going to clear head and go into these next 3 games and really re-solidify himself as one of the top quarterbacks in the FCS, if not the top.
Yeah, and Grant, he dropped one in the bucket right in front of us to Jack Martins on 3rd and long. Remember that one down the sideline? It was just kind of a rainbow throw. It went real high and just dropped it in the bucket. Mm-hmm. And the touchdown pass to Fenner, it wasn't all bad with him, but it was just inconsistent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and just because he wasn't sacked doesn't mean he wasn't pressured. I saw, rewatching the game, when at halftime he had already, on every drop back he had at half, he had 7 pressures and 4 hits on him. So not entirely perfect, but his jersey definitely wasn't clean.
Right. Yeah, I would say that's, just one last comment on Aiden, because I think it was all we all kind of shared the same. That wasn't his game. Like, just something wasn't quite right in that game for him. Doesn't obviously change any of our minds about who the best quarterback is in the FCS. I think he's going to bounce back incredibly well too. But to your point, Jake, I think another thing that we can't see, and unless you get an all 22 view of it, like what does that defense create as far as passing lanes go? That we can't see from the sidelines, right? So those ones that are behind it, are we trying to avoid, are you trying to avoid a defender and so you're forced to throw it behind? The short hop ones are probably not the case, right? But we saw a few of those. But again, it's all things considered. Yeah, it sucks, but all the goals are still in front of us, and hopefully lights a little bit of a fire under everybody too, because kind of to pivot to maybe our next topic, right, of like improvement stuff. I actually have a little bit more concern about the defense maybe than I do, talking about like Aiden's play, right? That one doesn't worry me a bit, but defensively, there's some things that need some serious improvement, and they need to happen pretty quickly here because we're heading to Lamar.
Before we go defense, let's just shout out Charles Pierre real quick, because he looked like himself, like the Charles Pierre from last year, maybe even a step faster, honestly. And then congratulations to Lorenzo Fenner, getting his first touchdown reception on a big stage like that at Ames. We've heard that name all spring and even last year a little bit. And so to see him come out and get that first one right away on our first drive was pretty sweet. So we'll make sure we shout out those two guys on the offense too.
Yeah. And then before we continue through, anybody that's following along with us live, whether you're on Twitter or YouTube, throw in your observations too. I think there was 2,000 plus Coyote fans there based off the way it was walking through. Fox had some fantastic angles. So if you watched from home, you probably saw some stuff better than us. Throw it in the chat. Would love to get everybody involved today.
Yeah. Sorry, one other thing before we move on to the defensive side of things here. I know it was kind of a bummer of a game, but just kind of reeling it back, watching the game, that first quarter was a lot of fun. Like,
it was.
I know that's kind of a, it's all, you zoom out, it's not that important, but them of course scoring right away, tough, big play, but us going down the field with pretty little
confidence.
Resistance, that was exciting, right? That was like, oh man, here we go. We're about to have a ball game. And then to turn around again, defense gave up a pretty easy one. But we drove, to your point, all the way to the red zone. The interception happened at the goal line or right in front of the goal line. Those two drives for the offense looked really good. And then that seemed to be the end of it, right? I always say that, okay, that's enough. We're going to just kind of turn this show off. But I do want to say that, like, that's the flashes that we know this team can do, right? Like, we saw it and we've seen it before. So yes, it got ugly quick after that, but it wasn't some flash in the pan. Yeah, Fan says it exactly right. It's a long sustained drive. It wasn't some, we ran a double reverse backwards pass for a touchdown the first drive, and that's the only touchdown we scored. No, that was that's a live football drive that we put together there. So do want to kudos the offense on that, because I think that's important.
That was Coach Morrison's script. I mean, right there.
Yeah.
And I'll go ahead, Mitch. I was going to say it.
No, go ahead. All
right. So I just want to add to it. As they were driving, first, obviously 12 plays, 75 yards. Next one, 6 plays, 53 yards, but then interception. Then our one bad, 3 plays, -2 yards. But even after that, 10 for 44. And then they got their last field goal going into half. So the first half, I mean, we looked really good. It was steady. I know I saw some concern in some Iowa State faces in that first half, especially the beginning part, when our offense made it look pretty easy.
Yeah, and since we're talking about offense, so we talked about on the preview show, we're going to get punched. And we got punched right away, guys. They scored in 4 plays. The first play is a 60 or 70-yard bomb,
80.
Right? Went over 80, went over the top.
Yep.
And they score 3 plays later on third down, wide open, tight end, corner of the end zone. But what do? We punch right back with a 7-8 minute drive, like Fan says, and we answer. They get the ball back, they go and score right away again. But what do? We drive down the field, we get to the red zone, and the mistake happens. And that's where, to me, it started to unravel, and looking back, it's easy to say that, but that was a pivotal point in the game, a big momentum flip, because if we would have answered right there, you figure like, okay, we're going to hang. Yeah, we're going to hang with these guys, get to halftime and see what happens. But the momentum, everything just kind of flipped. It's like a switch flip there, and they just started to run away with it slowly but surely.
Exactly. And then, I mean, after all the dust settles, they scored on every single drive except for their last one, which they need out at R1.
I was gonna say we never saw their punter.
We never saw their punter. We should have seen their punter at the end of the second quarter, but whatever.
Yeah, 60.
No.
Hey, hats off to that kid though, right? 63
Yeah, no
yarder. Come
doubt.
on, come on. That's
Couldn't
up there.
ride
LG.
That's up there in the top 10 in the NFL.
We were joking about on the way home. I said 63-yard field goal was the NFL record for what felt like 60
Ever.
years. You know, it was this long field goal, and here we
Until
see
they
it
start
live.
messing with the ball and they get longer field goals now. Yeah.
You say, and that's we all joked about that. You said when you see the opposite team hit a 63-yarder, you just know it's not going to be your day.
Yeah.
And I will say the funniest part about it all is it felt like half the stadium didn't even see that kick.
Right.
They all cleared out. So that's the biggest complaint about Iowa State fans, just so you guys are aware, is they leave with like 2 minutes, a minute and a half left in the second quarter, and they go out and tailgate again. They get re-drunk, and then they show up like 5 minutes into the third quarter.
Well, that's what happens when you don't sell beer in the stadium too.
Exactly. Yeah, that was a good tweet, wasn't it?
That was good. That was good.
But yeah, so that, I mean, if you're ever gonna try to make your move against Iowa State, it's right there. That's where you come out and punch right away to start without anybody seeing it. You don't have any pressure from the fan base. That's how you do it.
Hey, speaking of alcohol, real quick, so that suck up or souk up whatever end zone club down there, I thought that looked pretty horrible. Knowing that those 3,000 fans are all in there drinking, the rest of the stadium can't be, and so you just see a wall of empty seats in that end zone.
Yeah,
I was kind of laughing at that because that's a bad look, especially when you're on national TV and they scored several points down there, so they're kicking extra points and scoring touchdowns down there, and it's just empty.
Yeah, it's definitely a Twitter soft spot that you're hitting right there for Iowa State fans. They complain about the South.
Hey, we hit a couple of those, by the way. I had a couple tweets over the weekend, especially on Sunday, that got a lot of impressions. By the way.
Oh yeah, I wasn't too impressed, but it definitely got the impressions.
Anyway, so I digress.
Yeah. All right, so now you guys want to kind of talk about what didn't go well.
Let's go defense.
Let's go. Maybe I say like to that first slide, right? What maybe needs a little bit of improvements, or maybe what concerned us, but defense is probably a good place to start, huh?
Yes. I'll say this: I think you could tell that the team hasn't played on natural grass. I do think that is actually a factor. The practice field outside is turf, and obviously we got the dome that's turfed. But you could also tell that cleats might have needed to be a little longer. They were sliding.
Isn't that the way to combat that? You just go with longer studs in the cleats?
Yes. They did not have long enough studs on it. And so the quick moves that Iowa State was able to make, it was because they had the longer cleats. They're used to it. It's their home field. It is an extra, I don't want to call it a full defender, but it's definitely a pro for Iowa State. And that's, I think we had some issues in the secondary because of it.
See, and I would just, I don't know that was a factor, to be honest. I think, now to your point, to me, the overwhelming size of the tight ends and the speed of the wide receivers, we were just in matchup hell all day long, it seemed like, right? We just didn't have an answer for what they just kept going back to, right? So it seemed like our corners were consistently getting matched up on tight ends where they just have no chance, quite frankly, right? With these tight ends, right? And again, back to the FCS, you're not going to have matchups like this, but we're talking about some of the biggest tight ends probably in the country.
Huge tight ends.
And
not only just big bodies, but literally there's going to be a couple All-Americans in there. And the two that scored touchdowns, probably for sure.
Yeah. So again, it's hard too, because again, you want to talk about the biggest uncertainty coming into the season for the Yotes is probably the secondary, just because it's a lot of young, inexperienced guys, right, at the cornerback position, safety position. So that combination, maybe we overlooked, because as you kind of think about it, you go, that makes sense, right? We've got a team that's notorious for having excellent wide receivers, huge tight ends, and we're coming into our very first game with pretty inexperienced DBs, and man, oh man, it did show.
Well, Jake, we get there, right? We get to the game and I get down there early and watch warmups, and who do we see in a jersey and walking with a little bit of a limp is number 9, our senior captain at safety, Tim White.
Yeah, I mean,
and so what does, I was, we see that and we're like, okay, it's going to be Dewan Lewis seatbelt getting the start. We see that, and what does Iowa State do on the very first play? They go over the top sucked him up, went over the top for the 80-yard bomb. Mm-hmm. And Grant, I want to counter a little bit with the wide receivers. The comment you made was they didn't do a whole lot outside of that one big pass play as far as wide receivers are concerned. It was really the tight ends that did the damage. Sure. Between the two big tight ends, they have 130 yards and 3 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. And Rocco was what was Rocco? He set a school
19
record.
of 20.
Yeah, 19 of 20, 95% completion rate. That's a school record, and 3 touchdowns. And he only played a couple minutes into the third quarter.
Yeah.
So I think we just had no answer for the tight ends. And I don't know, if you look at backers and safeties and corners and, the scheme that we run on defense, is that, just, hey, we don't have the same athlete, or is that scheme, or, I don't know. I'm not in tune enough to be able to give an answer on that, but maybe it's part of all of that. But that's really where it came down to, is the biggest glaring difference was no answer for the tight end.
Oh, I mean, it's an absolute matchup nightmare. You watch Iowa State get down to like the 5-yard line or so, and they come out into a bunch set, and it pulls everybody in, and then all of a sudden they just shift 4 tight ends who are all 6'6", out wide like wide receivers, and then you have Bramer go over the top of Rosetta. I mean, Rosetta, he's not a corner.
What are we gonna do?
And to this point, I mean, he is 6'4", but he's also not a corner. He doesn't feel that comfortability in getting into coverage situation like that. But that's what they do. And I mean, I said it going into the pregame show. I said, if Iowa State doesn't have 15, 20 targets to their tight ends, USC's got a shot. And they ended actually with 15 catches.
I think Tyler threw out one of their tight ends having 2 touchdowns, and I think he was actually right on that.
Yeah,
I think he called out Bramer. I think he specifically said Bramer by name. I expect him to have 2, and he did have 2.
Which I do think Bramer, there's a good shot he'll be a top 3 round draft pick, if not in the first round. Last season I was very impressed with him. He's big and fast, and he seems to have gotten bigger and faster.
So let's go D line too for a second, because we need to talk about the D line and kind of the Jekyll and Hyde that they had with able to stop the run, but not able to get a whole lot of quarterback pressure on passing downs. And so with Rocco, and Rocco's a good talent, is able to find. He not only did he have plenty of time, but he had guys running wide open too. So that combination equated to 19 for 20.
Yeah.
Well, I mean Rocco really didn't get pressured. Right. I mean, I don't recall a time where we really got that close to a sack, to be honest. And again, he's an excellent quarterback. He's able to navigate that. But to your point, I thought we did a really nice job on the run game. I know
Absolutely.
the box score doesn't really show that, right? But I think for anybody,
a lot of that is garbage time, second half stuff.
Exactly, a lot of garbage time, game's kind of over type stuff. But in that first half, I thought they did a really nice job. But when it came to passing, that was the 2 main takeaways for me. We couldn't get any pressure, and when we couldn't get pressure, he's going to pick you apart. He's going to do it. He's going to do that to plenty of Big 12 teams too this year, right? Same with those tight ends. Those tight ends are going to dominate more than a few DBs in Big 12 play too. So it feels like that part of the game, the QB play for Iowa State, the tight end play for Iowa State, that's more a testament to how good they are, not a testament to, oh my gosh, we've got guys who are lost, in my opinion. And I think we'll see that over the next 3 weeks for this USD defense. They're going to be a lot better.
And give Iowa State their flowers too, because no Ireland hangover, number 1.
None.
And number 2, no sandwich concerns with overlooking us or being sleepwalking through that game. Even the first, obviously the first quarter they come out with a bang. So give them their flowers, man. They took care of business as they should have.
Yeah, it kind of feels like they listen to our show.
Right.
It's concerning. They took all my notes. And, well, if Rocco misfires here or there, we got a chance. If they don't use their tight ends, we got a chance.
They gave us absolutely nothing.
And they gave us not a thing. Heck, Rocco's incompletion actually went off the hands of his tight end out of bounds. It did not go anywhere but out of bounds. Nate did have a shot at one. Had Rocco fired it in and any slower, Nate Ewell would have had a pick, but there was never really an opportunity for us to get the ball at all from him.
No. You guys want to know what my most disappointing play of the game was? I want to talk about anti play of the game. Seeing their freshman quarterback, which I don't even know if he's the backup. He might even be the third stringer, number 7, kid from Algona, Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Mansky? No, that's backup.
Is he okay? He's second string. Okay.
Semantics.
Maybe. Okay. So either way, seeing him again, freshman, seeing him on like the 10-yard line run the ball, and he's attempting to run it in a quarterback keeper, and we have 4 coyotes that have a chance to get him. The first is DeJuan Lewis, who hits him about the 4 or 5 yard line, kind of gets one leg, can't get him down. You got Roman Tillman, Wade Abrams coming in, try to clean it up. Both of them kind of half whiff. They get a hand on him, but don't really get him. And then here comes Nate Ewell to try to clean it up. And the kid's second effort, and he's diving into the end zone and he gets it. We have 4 coyotes that had a chance to get him, and he still gets it. And when I see stuff like that, guys, that's a little bit concerning for me because we've got some rushing quarterbacks in the Valley on two of our biggest schools that we're going to have to play here down the stretch. And that scares me a little bit, seeing stuff like that. So that's got to get fixed in a hurry.
Well, can I make you feel better?
Go for it. Please do.
At least Mansky was a top 4-star quarterback coming out of high school. You also can look at those guys, and we were absolutely gassed by the time he showed up.
Yeah, I think that was in the third quarter, maybe. I can't remember. It might have been early fourth. It's all a blur at that point.
It is, yeah. I mean, well, heck, and I told you guys I've rewatched it. I watched up until that second long punt return, and then I quit watching for the second time, just because that's the part where you throw out the film. You use it for learning development for some of the guys, but ignore that.
It's pay for practice at that point for ISU.
Exactly.
Yeah, speaking of pay for practice, how about the decision to go for 2 up 33-7?
That was just to even out the score, is what it was. Just
whatever.
Even 7.
I don't believe it.
Just for Vegas.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And they called a terrible pick play too, which the ref actually did throw a flag for OPI. So I appreciated that one. But that one had me scratching my head just a little bit and going for 2 up a bunch there.
And Ray, I see your comment there, and we're going to talk about that on number 3 Montana State. We'll get there. I have some thoughts, so just hang on tight.
Yeah. Say if we can pivot there. I don't. I think we covered a lot of what my thoughts were similar to, kind of the defense on there. But again, overall I'm anticipating a much better defense here the next 3 weeks for USD football.
Is Lamar on turf?
Before we go there, guys, I want to give a shout out to Tyler Ebel also.
Sure it is.
Look at his punt average down there on the bottom right.
Dude was booting him.
Yeah, almost to the point, guys, where he was almost out kicking the coverage, and that's
he did.
I mean,
for sure. Yeah.
On the 99-yarder that they ran back, their
Troy Bowding got held.
Yeah, Troy Bowding got held. I don't know what do you call that? Because I guess corner or whoever's blocking the gunner on that sideline held Troy 3 different times on that play, which is obviously how he got sprung to start that. But then he goes all the way opposite field and runs it back, and later reviewed and ruled that he stepped out. But 49.8 yards average punt. That is amazing.
And that punt, I mean, he scooped it at the 1, which every textbook says no. You're sitting on the bench afterwards. But no, when you actually know what to look for on that play and anticipating that there's holding on Troy, you watch it. Troy got held the whole way down the field. He couldn't create space because of it. So at the end of the day, none of these penalties that they missed mattered. But you can't spot the better team extra leverage in it. So, I mean, it is what it is. We can go through and talk about who impressed us in this game, and then we can move around to kind of what happened around the league and call it a night.
That sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll start on the offensive side. Anybody want to step up?
I'll go first.
Okay.
A picture queued up for it right here. How about this? Just talking about this. Sam Coles. Shout out Sam. Not only did he have a good game from an offensive perspective, and all the questions that I brought up over and over on this show for the O-line, they did a nice job. But how about this? You're getting beat real bad. The refs aren't calling holding on this punt return, the 99-yarder, and here he is, still laying out, giving 110% to make sure that this kid can't run it back on you. And he's full extended just to get one hand on him, enough to get him to step out there. So for me, that's where I'm going. I'm going Sam Coles and his buddies on the offensive line, because they did a hell of a job for the task that they had at hand, and specifically this play for still giving it everything, even though the game's well out of hand.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely describes it. I was actually looking post-game, and I was like, this is concerning when your offensive guard has a tackle. It showed up in the box score for this.
Exactly.
But yeah, this is a fantastic picture. Shout out, Sam. I mean, you could definitely tell the guys were in it to the end, trying, and I'll give them that.
That's a senior leader that's a senior leader for you right there.
Exactly. This should be his new profile picture, that's for sure. I'll say this though, Dallas Holmes. I know he didn't have much on the box score, 4 catches, 24 yards, but he's showing everything that I was anticipating advertising wise. He was in there blocking fantastically, lined up next to these old linemen. 4 really big catches that we needed as well. I was really impressed with what Dallas was doing.
Nice. Yeah, I would say I had 3 of these queued up, just knowing that you guys would probably take one. So the O-line, of course, was an obvious one. I know we talked about that, but and we actually just talked about it too. I think you hate to say this for a player of the game type thing, but Ebel was booting them, right? I mean, that's
MVP, most valuable punter.
He probably was, right? But
you didn't get to see the Iowa State punter in this game, so he had no competition.
That's right.
It's the Iowa punter. That's the good one.
Yeah. So, but since we've already talked about those guys, I will. I'm just going to default to Fenner, and more so like a congrats, like we said earlier. First touchdown of his career, first catch of his career, early in the game. Exciting time to do it. So that was exciting to see. We're going to see a lot more of that this year.
Yeah, it is a little frustrating because last season, going into the season, I put out a tweet saying, "Watch out for Fenner." It just took a little longer to get to it.
That's right. All. Good things come to those who wait, Jake.
Exactly.
And this game's going to be a springboard for him, guys. He's gonna have a good season.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I want to say this. So just as a little side note, as you guys can tell, I am not wearing our back to pack shirt today because I wanted to cue this up. I totally forgot to talk about it last Thursday. But I want to give a huge shout out to the Charlie store down in Vermilion. So just a little side story here. I saw this shirt online and I thought it was cool. I wanted to get it to me before the Iowa State game. I wanted to wear it there. And I hit up, I called them because I didn't know if it'd get there. I was like, hey, I know this one's probably popular. You got anything available? She said no, but let me call the bookstore and let me check with the trailer at the Dome. So Diane went out of her way for me to find one. And she took all weekend to find one. And I get a call from her on Monday. She goes, hey, great news. I found one. I was like, Diane, that's awesome.
Wow.
How can I get it to Sioux Falls by Friday? She's like, that's not getting there to Sioux Falls by Friday. It's like, okay, hey, that's understandable. I'll buy it now. And it is what it is. I'll get it when I get it then. She goes, well, I'll get it up to you. It's like, oh. Okay. Wednesday, she showed up at my work and hand delivered it for me.
Wow.
So,
God, that's awesome.
Huge. I mean,
that's
major
awesome.
fan of Charlie's store. They already have a fantastic selection, but customer service going above and beyond on that. was absolutely massive. I forgot to say it on Thursday because I wore the back-to-pack shirt down there, but I got all my stuff put away from our trip. I was like, no, I'm going to wear that for the show just so I don't forget. So I wanted to slip it in here before we continued on.
That's awesome because that Nike shirt is sweet. And I think they have 3 different color combos on that too, don't they?
They have a red. Now I have to go buy my white one for our home game.
For the whiteout, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to go buy my black one for the game after.
There you go.
So, yeah, I mean, shout out Diane. Shout out to the Charlie store. If you need USD gear, be sure to hit them up.
Hey, quick plug too. If you're part of the Yote Fund, right, you get 15% off Charlie's. So
exactly.
Howling Pack /Yote Fund.
She drove it all the way to Sioux Falls. I didn't pull that out of my wallet. So I'm not going to go for a discount.
That's awesome.
All right, we got the spinning wheel for Grant instead of Grant, so we'll just kind of keep moving on through this here a little bit. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. Hey, there he's back. I don't know what the heck happened.
No idea what happened. We're back.
Now,
moving on. Got a squirrel chewing on his Wi-Fi.
Did you guys have anybody you wanted to hit on defensively by chance?
Man,
give them their flowers.
I mean, I guess if I just go a position group, I guess the D line held their own, right? They were solid. I think that they had some spots where they really shined, especially on some of those short yardage plays where they stuffed them. In fact, there was one kind of maybe midfield or 40-yard line that it was like 3rd and short, and they called it a first down. But from our vantage point, Grant, it sure looked like we stuffed them.
They should have definitely checked the spot.
Didn't even go to a review. Nothing like that. Just gave them the first down. But that was kind of the theme of the day with the refs. They didn't seem to really want to call anything our way. So it is what it is. Did bring out some snowflakes on Twitter though, which I kind of enjoyed. I did have a good laugh about that this weekend, from the Iowa State fan base. I didn't realize they were so soft over there for calling out just a couple plays, but nonetheless.
You got the Bunny fans showing up too. At last I saw that thing had over like 86,000 impressions.
Yeah, that's got to be one of our best tweets ever. It's like 10,000 engagements and 80,000 impressions. I mean, if we could drop one of those a week, guys, we'd be getting paid on X. We just need to come up with something, just something each week. We'd probably start making some money.
Always nice when Reddit FCS jumps in for you, right?
That helped. Get some big accounts in there to retweet it, and away it goes, man.
Exactly. But no, the reason I asked is just because I actually did have somebody I wanted to bring up after rewatching it. Huge shout out to Matt Walsh. He has been grinding his way all the way up into his last season. He finally gets the starting nod. He was all over the field, and he was laying the wood until the last whistle. So, I mean, props to him. He's getting everything he deserves because he's earned it. So that's just a name. I saw a number that I kept seeing flying around the field. He's going to do some big things this season.
I will say too, I do have one name, Chris Dixon. That guy was all over the stat sheet as well, from that interior D-line position too. So again, talking about the D-line holding their own, I thought he did a really nice job in there as well. But like I said, I know the defense isn't happy with their performance on Saturday. I'm hoping they really take that momentum into Texas here on Saturday, but we'll of course talk more about that Thursday night on the show.
Exactly. All right, but now it's time for me to touch on Ray's comment here about Montana State absolutely getting taken to the woodshed. It's very similar to us. I don't think the box score was too different. I think maybe Oregon dropped 60, but outside of that, I don't think there's too much difference. But one thing I just kind of want to remind everybody on for these P5 matchups, SCSU got absolutely curb stomped by Oklahoma State last season. Does anybody, just show of hands, does anybody know how Oklahoma State ended the season?
Not
DFL.
Great.
What?
It's a DFL.
Yeah. They did not win a single game in the Big 12. Right. The other one I want to point out from last season, Idaho. Does anybody remember Idaho's P5 game?
Hung with Oregon all the way to the end.
They played somebody tight. There you go, Oregon. So Oregon, I mean, if I remember correctly, no, Oregon did not win the Big Ten. But
They were right there for the opportunity to win the Big Ten, go to the playoffs. Idaho does not make the semifinals. SDSU does as a home favorite up until that point. Don't overthink the P5 matchups.
No reason to panic.
No, there's absolutely do not raise alarm bells. Now, next week when we go into Lamar, and if we don't win by 10 plus, then you can start having some question marks pop up. But right now, I don't have a single alarm bell going off yet.
No, the sky's not falling. And this was a good measuring stick to just see where we were in general if you're just grading ourselves. But there's no reason to compare us to Iowa State or do anything, play any games with trying to do the transitive property and look at that kind of stuff, because it's really just about us, right? And I think Coach Johansson said it, one of his interviews prior to the Iowa State game was he wants to see that week 1 to week 2 jump, because there's typically a big jump. And the teams that don't make that jump, it could be a long season. But if you make that jump from week 1 to week 2 with a big improvement, that's really where it's at. And so to your guys' point, you got an FCS opponent now. It is a big road trip, but a chance to get right.
And then the last question is, does anybody remember the FCS team that hung with Iowa State last season?
UND, I'll say it.
Yeah. How'd their season turn out? Maybe we don't want to hang with Iowa State.
What was that final score? Like 21-3?
21-3.
Yeah.
And UND went on to be 5-7. So proud of you.
Yeah. It's week 1. It was week 1 for us. And that was the other thing. Iowa State already had a game under their belt. And
yes,
we were hopeful they would come out a little sleepy, have that hangover. Obviously didn't happen.
That was our big.
We kind of needed that, honestly, to stay in the game.
Yep.
And so you think about all those things, and that was our first game. We didn't have and to our point too, we talked about this on the preview show. We didn't have a tune-up game like we did last year going to Wisconsin. We had the Northern State game. This was our first game, so I think there's a lot of factors there.
Exactly. So yeah. All right, you guys got anything else you need to hit on?
No, just flush this one. It's done. Stick a fork in it.
Agreed.
Yeah, all I say is I hope the boys, you can't burn this film for the young guns in the secondary. It's definitely a learning opportunity. Definitely a spot to learn. Heck, even Aiden has some stuff to take home. O-line, D-line, linebackers. Everybody's got an assignment after this film. Don't burn it. Learn from it and move on.
Yeah, and there's no rest for the weary. There's no time to feel sorry for ourselves because we've got 11 FCS games in a row. It's all gas, no breaks this season, so got to go.
You boys ready? We got 24 episodes in a row.
Nonstop.
So, yeah.
It's going to be interesting, fellas. I know we were looking at the weather, right? And it was, like 89 or something, 86 at kickoff on Saturday night in Beaumont, Texas.
And you know how quickly it cools down in a desert.
Let's go.
And the night gets. So I'm not too worried about it. It'll be a fun one. We'll learn a lot more about the team and where we truly stand. We'll get to our predictions on Thursday.
Yep, Thursday night. You guys will break it down.
Perfect. All right. Well, hey, I think this is a perfect spot to wrap up. Go Yotes.
Go
Yotes.